Okay, so hey, ladies. So excited to get this live out to you. And today we'll be discussing how to effectively do shadow work. So, shadow work is so important. It really is because I really feel like it is what is so essential and evolving along your process. But a lot of women have reached out to me saying that they don't know how to start shadow work or they don't know if they are doing shadow work correctly. So, since they want to know how and since they don't know where to start or if they're doing it right, I want to get out this live to really be able to give you ladies some clarity on how you can confidently do shadow work. So, if you feel like you're at a place where you're not really confident in doing shadow work, you don't know if you're doing shadow work correctly, or you don't know how to start doing shadow work, then type shadow in the comments below. And after this live, I'll reach out to you, see what questions you have about it, and to answer any questions that you ladies may have. So let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, Marie. Good morning, Ayana. Love you guys. Love you that you ladies are here. So there's one of the big things I want to touch on with not knowing how to do shadow work is when you do know how to do it, you'll be able to consistently evolve along your journey and do so effectively. Now, I'm not saying that shadow work is easy. It definitely is challenging, but it is a simple concept. It's not about understanding it, it's about application that is going to get you evolving. So it doesn't matter if you understand it. If you're not applying it, you're not going to get the results that you are looking for, which is more peace, which is more harmony within yourself. Everything is about within your own self. So I like to say shadow work is, I looked around, I did some research, and I've seen a lot of people talking that shadow work is just becoming aware of the shadow itself. But becoming aware of the shadow is not enough to actually transcend the shadow or to heal from the shadow. So, in my opinion, I believe that shadow work is becoming a witness to your triggers and not only knowing what your triggers are, but seeing how the ego is playing a role in your everyday life. If you do not know how the ego is playing a role in your everyday life, then you're not going to know what you're up against. Therefore, you're not going to know how to not fall into the traps of the ego, because the ego is always trying to trap you. And I think it's really important in doing shadow work to understand what is the ego doing, what is the characteristics of the ego, and how to identify the ego. So I break it down into two main things. The ego is a perspective in life. It's a perspective that sees things as to blame outside, externally, and it seeks outside of itself for completeness. Now, there are two perspectives in life. You can either have the ego perspective of any given situation, which is blaming something outside of yourself, or coming from a place where you feel lack inside and you want to fulfill something outside or take something from outside to fulfill yourself. That's one perspective. That's the ego perspective. The only other perspective you can have is the Holy Spirit's perspective. Now, I do use the term Holy Spirit, but it is not usually meant in the Christian terminology. It is not meant the way Christians use it. Holy Spirit to me literally means whole spirit. Whole spirit. So if you guys want to chunk it down to spirit, that's totally fine. But I'm going to say Holy Spirit. So Holy Spirit, it knows that it is whole and has everything that it needs, and it reflects and surrenders. So instead of projecting and saying things are only external and that's why you are feeling some type of way, the Holy Spirit sees it as a way to reflect what is going on within you and to surrender it up. And that is what we'll actually be talking about. So with the ego, if you are either a and we all do it. We all do it. We all get into these traps of the ego because we are so heavily identified with our ego nature. Good morning, Christina. We are heavily identified with our ego nature. So it's actually easier for all of us to identify with our ego nature much more quickly than it is to identify with our spiritual nature. And that is why we are all here, to become more identified with our spiritual nature and for us to see the oneness within us all. Because with the ego, we see two-ness, we see separateness, we see individuality, we see you over there and me over here, and that ain't got nothing to do with me. All me. So we see ourselves as individual, whereas the Holy Spirit sees things as oneness. So it's really hard for us to see the oneness because we see so many bodies and we see the differences. But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. We are still one within. So the whole goal is to come back to oneness. And through shadow work, you can come back to that oneness and be aware of that oneness. Now, the little trick here is just okay, let's say you do become enlightened, or we talk about enlightenment, or people that are enlightened. That doesn't mean that they no longer see bodies. That just means that they have an awareness that they are one with everything, not that you just don't see bodies anymore. I know that that was pretty confusing to me along my journey. Like, okay, when I see oneness, are we all gonna like be attached to each other or something? But no, so I just wanted to clear that up. It's an awareness that you have that you are not disconnected from anything. And so when you are seeing things through the ego, the perspective of the ego, any given situation where you either seek externally outside of yourself to fill you up, or you blame external things for how you are feeling. When you do either of those two things, you are keeping yourself stuck in the situation, and you are not learning the lesson that way. And that is exactly what the ego wants you to do. And I think it's so important when we're speaking about shadow work to really highlight the ego, because if you don't know what the ego is or what it is doing or its agenda, then you're not going to be able to effectively do shadow work, because it requires you to transcend and heal from those things. So the ego does not want you to heal. It wants to keep you stuck and stagnant and continuing to look outside of yourself, because the more you look outside of yourself, the more you're going to be identified with the separateness, with the duality, with the individuality, and less identify with the mindfulness, the oneness, and be willing to surrender. And so a lot of the times we're looking, it's not bad when we're looking outside of ourselves for something. We're actually looking for wholeness and healing and completeness, right? But we're looking for it in the wrong place. And that's exactly what the ego wants you to do. It wants you to look outside of yourself, because it knows that that's not where the healing is. It knows that that's not where the problem is. The problem is always within yourself. And we're going to talk about that. And that's the main big basis of shadow work. But if you see things through the perspective of the Holy Spirit, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have difficult situations. That just means that you take those difficult situations and you use it to heal and to surrender and to reflect. Reflect first, surrender, and then heal, in that order. So getting into it. So I wanna also say this other thing. I wrote down some key points that you don't have to know where your triggers come from in order to do shadow work. A lot of the times people say, okay, well, let's think on back on where this trigger came from. And was it from your childhood, or whatever the case is, was it from this specific situation? Now, I tell my clients a lot that you do not have to know where the triggers are or where they originate from, because they're always going to be coming up to you in your daily life. So, and that's where the real work is done. That is where you heal from the trigger, not knowing or becoming aware of where it came from. Because once you become aware of where it came from, that is not going to allow you to be able to let it go. That is not going to allow you to be able to heal it. Just knowing where it happened. Oh, yeah, my mom used to smack me, or my dad used to beat me, and that is why I feel triggered when people touch me. That's all. That's not. So what do you do from there? Okay. So now a lot of these things may be a tough pill to swallow, but shadow work itself is tough. Like I said, it's the application that is tough, not understanding the concepts that is tough. So with these two perspectives, so let's say ideally what will happen if you weren't aware of shadow work, what will happen, and then we will talk about it once you are aware of the shadow work, what you can do to heal. So what you primarily may see yourself doing, let's say there is a situation where for example, there was a client that I was working with a while ago, and she was staying with her sister, and it is really tough when you're staying with people. So a lot of the times when we're not aware of the ego, we say that this person outside of us, my sister, is being petty. My sister is being annoying, and therefore that is why I am upset. So blaming something external outside of yourself for why you are feeling the way that you are feeling. Now, in that situation, um, her sister is triggering something within her that is already within her. Her sister is not conjuring up something that or making her feel some type of way that wasn't already within her. Her sister is triggering her, triggering something that is already within her so that she can see um, that this is within me and to be able to give it up. But instead, what the ego does, and primarily what a lot of people do, which I fall into this trap at times too, is we say it's that person. Why they gotta be petty, or she just mad because da 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 da, or she just don't want to help me, and this is why I'm late, or this is why I'm irritated, or this is why I can't stay here. So basically you're blaming yourself outside of yourself, and this also can be on the other side where there is love. That's also ego, where you see yourself, the only reason you feel love is because this partner is giving you love, or because your children are showing you affection. Now you feel like the reason you are feeling love is because of something outside of yourself. So it's still too with the ego, it's because it's the ego's love and it's the ego's hate. So when it's the ego's anything, the reason that the justification is the reason why you feel any type of way inside of yourself is because of something outside of yourself. And then seeks outside of itself for love and completeness. So with that one, so the first one, it was blaming anything outside of yourself externally for why you're feeling things internally, whether it's love or whether it's hate or fear or anxiety or whatever the case. Whether, oh my God, it's my boss and they just keep getting up on me, and now that's why I'm feeling so anxious at work because I got to get this done because my boss is making me feel this way. No, your boss is highlighting something within yourself. Now, you do not need to know where that anxiety originated from. You just need to know that the anxiety is there. And we'll get to how to heal that in just a second. Now, the second thing with the seeking outside of itself for love or completeness, one of my clients, she go on vacations a lot or spend money a lot, or whether it's food, overeating to feel good, to feel complete, to feel overeating when you're full and you just keep eating. Shopping, buying stuff excessively. um, a person, it could be either your children or your a partner or a really good friend. Either way, it is feeling like you don't have it, and so you need to go buy something in order to feel complete. So that is something of the ego as well. Now, getting into the Holy Spirit's perspective, which is the real shadow work. The shadow work is not what I just talked about. The shadow work is what I'm about to get into in just a second. So now, that remember I said there was two perspectives. The one perspective we just talked about with the ego. The second perspective is the Holy Spirit. That is seeing things, that knowing that the Holy Spirit knows that everything is within itself and it is not outside of itself, and it knows that, and it reflects and surrenders. So that is actually healing the unconscious self, whereas the ego keeps the unconscious unconscious. So when within ourselves we have this where the ego wants us to see outside of ourselves. That means that the shadow is unconscious, right? So the shadow is unconscious. The ego wants us to keep looking outside of ourselves so that we don't see this unconscious self. So when we don't see this unconscious self, what it does is it projects itself outside of us onto somebody else or onto another situation, and that is where you're blaming, or where you have the perspective of blaming something outside of yourself. Now, even if you do this, you still have the opportunity to take it back. So, with the Holy Spirit perspective, is knowing that that fear, that anxiety, even that love and that harmony is within you. It is always within you. The peace is within you, the love is within you, but also the fear is within you, and the anxiety is within you as well. So, once we say, okay, let's say it's the sister situation. Oh, my sister is irritating me, and she act like she didn't want to help me out and take me somewhere. So now I'm saying that the reason that I am feeling frustrated is because my sister is not doing something for me. So with the Holy Spirit's perspective in that situation, it will be okay. Well, I know that this is within me. I don't have to know why it is being triggered, but this is triggering something in me, and this is showing me something within myself that I have not healed yet. I don't have to know where this has come from. So instead of blaming it on my sister, I'll just take it back and be like, you know what? This is within me. I don't know where it's coming from. And then you ask God or the Holy Spirit or the higher power, or you don't ask, you tell God, the Holy Spirit, or the higher power that you want to give it up. So there was this meditation that I just did, or I just learned, where I would put things on an altar, and we have done that meditation before in this group. But another thing that you can do is literally, like, when you are meditating, you literally make a giving up motion. God, I say, God, I give up this fear. I no longer want to have this fear of my sister, with my sister, um, um, feeling some type of way about my sister, feeling frustrated with my sister. I really want to give this up. Please help me see this situation differently. Please help me see the situation the way you would want me to see the situation. Now, as simple as that is, good morning, Melissa, as simple as that is, that is so challenging, because a lot of times we justify why we're feeling the way we're feeling. So even though it's like, oh, Ari, I can do that, I could just give it up. No, we don't give it up because we don't feel like we need to give it up. We're justifying why we're feeling this way. No, she was wrong. She needs to do this. She was the reason why I felt this way. And so you have to come to a place where you take the projection back. That's the hard part. You take it back, you notice that it's within yourself, and then from that point, you give it up. Now, a lot of the times I see within my clients or within women I work with, that you ask God to take it away. Now, you cannot ask God to take anything away from you, because what you're saying is, yes, Tracy, thanks for showing your appreciation. So when you ask God, first of all, God will not take something away from you. You have to give something up to God. And so a lot of times when we say, oh God, take away this fear, it's almost as if, well, it's not almost, it is as if you want to continue to have that separateness, that individuality, but you don't want to feel the effects of the separateness and the individuality, which is the fear and anxiety. The only time you feel fear and anxiety is when you feel separate, is when you feel alone, is when you don't feel connected to your source, right? When you don't feel connected to God is when you feel that fear and anxiety. So when you ask God to take away that fear, it's like, I want you to take away this fear, but I still want to be separate. I don't want to see the oneness. I don't want to experience the oneness, but I don't want to feel the fear. I don't want to feel the effects of separateness, which is fear and anxiety. So God is not going to do that. You have to be willing to give it up, to let God know, I'm ready to see the oneness. I'm ready to experience the oneness, and I want to give this up. Now, for example, with seeking outside yourself for love and completeness. So whether it's in a partner, whether that's in a clothes or material things. Now, how will the Holy Spirit see that? Is before you start, when you start to feel the urge, because most of the times when we want to go shopping, we have to see, or not shopping like you need something, but shopping as a way to get away from a grief, or to make yourself feel better. We have to be able to first come to a point where we're looking and being like, okay, well, I witnessed the temptation to go and buy things to fill me up, but I know that this is not going to fill me up. Once again, God, whatever the situation that happened beforehand that triggered you, that is causing uncomfortable feelings within you, and now you want to go out and buy something, that is when you come to God and you say, God, I want to give up. I give up this fear, this judgment, this anxiety about this situation. And I really want to see it from your perspective. And please help me see the situation the way you will want me to see it, and truly mean that. And that can only come from a place, honestly, ladies, that can only come from a place where you're tired, where you are able to witness and see all the pain and frustration and fear and anxiety that being separate causes you. Steady seeking outside yourself, people disappointing you. You steady looking for love. They want you to give, you honestly want them to give you some attention, which is fine. But then you notice they're going to let you down. The outside world is meant to let you down. The outside world is also meant to not be enough. So that is why you have to keep doing things over and over and over again, but it's still not enough. Even if it's something that's eating, we have to continue eating. We don't eat once in our lifetime. Even the body itself needs to constantly be reminded and tended to. And that is the ego. Remember, I well not remember, but I've heard a lot of women, we've all heard this saying that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, right? And we are experiencing a cosmic illusion, right? So look a little deeper into that. If we are human, if we are spiritual beings, I'm sorry, if we are spiritual beings having a human experience, then that means we're not human, right? If we are experiencing a cosmic illusion, a universal illusion, that means outside of ourselves, it's not happening. It's not real, even though we think that it is real and that it is happening. Or even though we are really, it seems very real that we're human, right? Even though we know that we're spiritual beings. So if we are in this, if we know that we are not, if this is an illusion, going to get your, not saying this, bear with me, not so going to get your nails done, seeking outside of yourself for stuff. You're seeking into an illusion. You're sinking into nothing to find something. And that is always going to leave you disappointed. So let me repeat that. Let me repeat that. So we hear this saying a lot that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So therefore, we are not human beings, right? We are spiritual beings, and that we are experiencing a cosmic illusion. Einstein even said what is actually happening outside of us is atoms just moving really fast, and we see it as solid. The naked eye see it as solid. So if we know that what we're seeing outside of ourselves is a cosmic illusion, and we know we are just having a human experience and we are spiritual beings, then looking outside of ourselves, looking into the illusion for something, an illusion is something that's not there. It's not there. So if we're looking for something outside of ourselves to complete us, then we're looking into nothing for something. And if we are blaming something outside of ourselves, we're blaming nothing. We're blaming nothing that is there for something that we feel within ourselves. So I hope that that makes sense. So therefore, we have to turn our perspective, because the outside, the perspective of outside is a reflection of an inward condition. External is a reflection of an inward condition. So the problem is always within ourselves. It's two perspectives. It's always two perspectives of any given situation. So you can either have the perspective of the ego or have the perspective of the Holy Spirit. So just to wrap that up again, shadow work is taking the shadow self, the blame, the guilt we feel, the anxiety we feel, and using that to heal. Now, how we do that is by taking the things that we are triggered by, and instead of projecting it, well, no, taking back the projection, because it's going to project itself in general, because it's unconscious. It's an unconscious belief that we don't know that we believe it about ourselves. So in order for us to see it, we see it in someone else. But where we go wrong is right here, is we think that it's only in the other person and it is not within ourselves, which gives us this innocent victim mentality, when really it is actually within ourselves. We don't have to know why, but it is actually within ourselves, and we just give it up. We just give it up. We literally let God know that we don't want this anymore. We don't want to hold on to this anymore. And usually that is the hard part, because we are justifying what we are feeling, and we don't want to give up. Most times we don't want to get it up because we feel like we have a right to feel the way we're feeling. They was disrespectful. I mean, they probably was disrespectful. But last point, this is really important. I kind of lost it a little bit, but I got it back. So remember, or I keep saying remember because I know you guys are feeling this way. Has there been times where you have asked God, I want more patience, I want more faith, I want more trust, I want to be more loving, right? I want to experience unconditional love. So the only way to experience that is for you to, good morning, Jasmine. The only way for you to experience that is for another person to come and show you what is not healed within you. So I was just talking to my client about that the other day, because they were saying that they get so frustrated by what other people do, by other people not being up to par or not being how they are. And so they always get frustrated by other people. Why they can't be more mindful? Why they can't be this way? Why they can't be that way? So when we start to feel like that, we are now, well, first, when we start to feel like that, this is the opportunity. This is what we've been asking for. God, I want to feel more love. I want to feel more peace. I want to feel more joy. I want to ascend, right? So, in order to ascend, we have to be able to heal the things that are blocking or remove the barriers around our hearts so that we can experience more love. Now, in order to remove those barriers, that brother, that sister is coming to you to show you what is not healed within you so that you can heal it and be more identified with your spiritual self. That is shadow work. That is shadow work. So instead of being frustrated by another person disrespecting you, that can't happen. I understand. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to keep allowing them to disrespect you, but when it happens, that is the opportunity to heal the stuff, heal it, to cultivate more love, cultivate more peace, cultivate more joy. One, because it is showing you within yourself what is not healed so that you can heal that. And two, they need it as well. If a person is disrespecting you, if a person is not extending love, peace, and joy, then they are calling for it. Only two perspectives, only two things. Either they have love and they're extended it, or they're calling for love. And that call for love can look like a lot of different things. That call for love can look like it's straight out, flat out cussing you out. It can. That call for love can look like wanting to ignore you. But people really, they don't know how to really ask, hey, can you can I get more love from you? One, they're going to be looking outside of themselves. So they're not going to God for love. So they're going to look at it from you. But because you're going to God for your love, you can extend it. You can extend God's love, peace, and joy through you and meet that other person there. Now, and that is what shadow work is doing. And that's the hard part. When we sign up for this, it sound all good. Did I freeze? Okay. It sound all good. Oh, I want to do shadow work. I want to be spiritual. I want to do this. But then when it comes down to it, it's like, see, that's why I can't be doing that, because people be messing up my energy. No, they're there to help you evolve. I hope that makes sense. If anybody got questions, please ask them, because this is some dense stuff. If you have questions, please ask them. I see that there are about 10, 11 people on here. If you have questions, ask them. I'm willing to answer them, because I know that it could be a little confusing, and it could be a little different from what you've heard before about the two perspectives and things like that, and a person calling for love or you having love and things like that. So that's it. That's what shadow work is. And like I said, it may be really easy to understand, but it is very difficult to apply, because a lot of times we want to justify the reason we are feeling frustrated. We say it's because of that other person, but really it is helping us see something that is not healed within ourselves, so we can heal that little part and move on to the next part. So be grateful for the people that have been sent to you that trigger you. Be grateful, not frustrated, because they are being sent to you. And that's the only way we want the spiritual journey, and we want I love that. I love that. We want the spiritual journey to be easy, and we want to be able to evolve and get there without pain. But the reason we got here where we are is because of pain. But so we have to go backwards. Steady identifying with the ego and choosing ego, and seeing that seeking outside of yourself, steady getting disappointed, saying things are other people's fault. That's painful. That's painful. And we have done this for so long that we don't even notice that it's truly painful. So once you start to witness like this stuff is causing me a lot of pain, you can now give this up. And only from there, you have to go backwards. You have to go back through it. So Jasmine said, what if the person refuses to accept that love? So definitely came across, this is one of the main questions. You don't have to worry about the outcome. You don't have to worry about the outcome. You don't know if they're truly refusing it. They may act like they're refusing it, but they may be taking notes. It may sit with them on a deeper level that they don't even know, that they're not even consciously aware of. Because if a person is refusing love, they have barriers up. So, and they are mindless. Remember, I said it's two perspectives. So the ego wants to keep you looking external as much as possible, to keep you unaware from the mind, unaware from the ability to choose to look at things through the Holy Spirit. So if a person is refusing love, then that means they have barriers up. And so, meaning that they're also probably mindless. Now, that's not a bad thing, but that just means that they probably won't even be aware that you are extending that love. That doesn't matter. A person doesn't have to receive your love for you to extend it, because once you extend it, what you extend, you strengthen. But the ego, that's what the Holy Spirit thinks. But the ego feels what you give, you lose. That's not true. What you give, you lose. It's like the flame. If a match lights another candle, it doesn't lose its flame, right? But the ego feels like, I'm losing something. If I give away love, I'm losing something. And that's why people decide to protect themselves and not give the love, because they're having it's either two perspectives, the perspective through the ego or the perspective of the Holy Spirit. The perspective through the ego is, if I give it, I lose it, right? And therefore, if I give it and I lose it, I need you to give it back to me. Or I need somebody or something to replenish what I lost. But no, that's not true. The Holy Spirit feels that what you give, you gain, you amplify in your life. So just give your gift, Jasmine. I want to call you JC because that's the name right here, but give your gift, girl. If they don't accept it, that doesn't mean that they won't accept it eventually. You don't know. We can't. And I know that that's so frustrating. We want to be able to see if it works. We want to be able to see the outcome. And that's also the ego. Give freely. Don't care about how it's taken. Don't care if it's even taken now. It's been a lot of people that's come back to me, and not a lot, but it's been times where people have come back to me and have realized something that uh, something I held space for them or whatever. And at the time, they probably didn't say thank you. They probably act like it didn't matter to them. They probably act like that they didn't acknowledge it. But later on, one, either they, because a lot of times people don't even want to let other people know that they acknowledge something, that you did something great. So they could be acting like they ain't accepted when whole time they over there like, hey man, that meant a lot. Like, they telling other people. I've witnessed this. I was one time at my 9 to 5, and we had went to one of the other locations, and this one girl, it was like a team meeting, and this other co-worker from the other location, she did not curse. She did not curse. Like, didn't matter what. We was playing like this one game, and one of the words was like, it was like you had to guess the word, the phrase, and one of the in-between words was ass. It was AS, not ASS. And the girl still didn't even want to say ass. So nobody ever said anything to the girl. But when we got in the car, one of my coworkers at my location was like, dang, you see, she ain't even cursed. I wish I had that much discipline. That was so good. And I'm just looking at her like, she never told that girl how much she admired the fact that she didn't curse. She never once said it. But when she got in the car and she wasn't around that girl, she boasted about the girl, like how much she admired the girl. So don't look for other people to acknowledge your love for you to either feel that it is there, or know that it is there, or know that it met them, because a lot of times people just won't give it, and they may not feel it at that moment. That's not up to you. As you extend, you gain, and that's all you should focus on. So I hope that answers your question, Jess. Okay, you said makes so much sense. Thank you. Anybody else got any more questions? Like, definitely hit me with them. I'm loving this conversation. I'm loving this topic. I'm gonna come out with some more topics. And so yeah, I would say moving forward, when you are at a situation where you are feeling any anxiety, any frustration, any fear, then that is showing you something within yourself that is not healed. Don't be mad or down on yourself. Be grateful that it is showing you something that you now can work on, and go to God for that, and just give it up. All you have to do is take it back, say that it is not in the other person or it's not in the other thing, and just take it back and then give it up. The rest is God. The rest is Holy Spirit. All he needs is your willingness to just give it up. And that's it. And it'll do the rest of the work. And after that, you'll start to notice maybe that at that moment or later that day, that you just have a different perspective about it. You don't care. You feel a little bit more harmonious with the situation. You're able to accept whatever the situation is, because you have went to God for this, and God is everything. It is that love, that peace, that joy within you. So once you keep going to God, you're connecting with your spiritual, and this is exactly what the ego don't want you to do. It doesn't want you to go and give it up and give it to God. It doesn't, because then it will start to cease to exist. It will start to not have that control over you, and it doesn't want that. So yeah, and so once you do that, you'll be able to accept more, you'll be harmonious, you'll have more confidence. Even in times of uncertainty, you'll be at peace. You'll be at peace. I know that this was kind of long, but this is a dense subject, so excuse me for talking for a while. She said, great topic, Tracy, great topic and information, so much gratitude. I'm currently taking a 12-week course on shadow work, so this really resonates for me. I'm glad that you're taking, I'm glad that this resonates. I'm glad that this resonates. I don't know all the information out there of shadow work. I did watch one video and she was like, just become aware of it. And once you're aware of it, we need to do, it needs to be one more step, because a lot of people are aware they can call themselves out on BS and then still be doing the BS. Because why? Because of being aware of it doesn't, it matters, but it's not, it's only one step. You need to go further and heal that. And so once you do, you'll have more harmonious relationships, you'll be more confident and things like that. So I do have, I'm still looking for 5 beautiful ladies this July. Open enrollment is open for the self-love prescription program for July up until July 29th. So if you want to be doing more shadow work, if you want to confidently do shadow work and heal your wounds and your traumas and really evolve along your spiritual journey, comment ready below, or book a 15-minute call with me that I'm gonna put in the comments below. And once again, looking for 5 ambitious ladies who are looking to do more shadow work, to evolve along their journey, to heal themselves, to have more harmonious relationships, and to become more identified with God and their spiritual identity. So if that is you, I see some comments below, then comment ready below, and I'm gonna reach out to you, see what's going on, see how your shadow is showing up, because everybody's shadow shows up differently. Some people shadow shows up in like overeating or food. Some people shadow shows up in like somebody else, like their partner. Some people shadow show up with their children. Some people shadow show up all 3. Some people shadow show up with their job or all of them. What triggers you? So yep. Love you, ladies. I'm be coming with some more great content. I already got some questions. If y'all have, more questions on what y'all want me to talk about, I'll definitely do a live on that. So go ahead and put I'm gonna put the the I can only do one thing at once. The link down below, and I'm gonna reach out to you ladies who commented ready. So check y'all DM very shortly. So peace out. I love you ladies. Thanks for engaging with me this morning, and have a great rest of your Wednesday. Peace out.